Hi co-learners, welcome back again to our session, and I hope you're excited to learn more about to discuss for this day. Now, I'm going to teach you about the advanced presentation skills. And on this topic, you're about to learn on the use of hyperlinks to improve your slideshow or your presentation, and how to use embedded files and data to your presentation, and how are you going to maximize the slideshow as an effective visual aid tool. All right. Now, there are a lot of tools that you can use to present your data or your information. Whether scientific data, statistical, or a book report, a presentation tool has you covered or you are about to present. Now, creating your presentation, putting design is one of the fun or exciting parts of creating a report, because it gives you an ability to enhance your creativity or a chance to be more creative. Like for example, putting animation, transition, other materials, and even an art could be placed on your presentation. But whether or not these features would help is generally up to you. It depends on your preference on how you're going to create your slideshow. Well, these things could actually distract your audience rather than help you because of too much elements that you put in your PowerPoint. Now, I'll give you some tips on creating an effective visual aid presentation. All right, here's the tip number 1. Make sure that your presentation is your slideshow you are using a minimize or make it minimize. Keep the contents of your slides as much as possible clear and only with minimum elements to keep the audience attentive. Remember that the presentation is just a visual aid. This is just a guide to your presentation and to your report. Most information should still come from the reporter. So most of the time when students are asked to present their report, it's not okay if you put a paragraph or a lot of text in your presentation. Why? Because if the audience are focused on your slideshow, masakit sa mata. The contents should be as much as possible in bullet type. Do not put a lot of text. Do not make it wordy, so that the audience are more attentive to what you are saying. You just explain because you only put what is necessary on your PowerPoint presentation. What about the next one? Clarity. Avoid being fancy by using a font style that is easy to read. Make sure that it is also big enough to be read by the audience. Once you start making your presentation, consider how big the screen is during your report. So, like for example, you are presenting in a wide room or in a wide crowd. So, if marami ang iyong audience, make sure that your presentation is clear enough para makita ng mga audience mo. Now, here's a tip. A font size of 72 is about an inch. It depends on the screen size. A 1-inch letter is readable 10 feet away. And a 2-inch letter is readable 2 feet away. So consider those tips upon creating your PowerPoint presentation. Next, simplicity. As much as possible, as I have mentioned a while ago, do not put a lot of words. Only use bullets. Summarize only what is the needed information in your report, so that the audience are focused on what you are saying, on the speaker itself, instead of reading the slide. Okay? Then limit the content to 6 lines only. 6 lines and 7 words per line. That's the rule in creating your presentation to make it more simple. This is known as the 6 by 7 rule. Alright? Again, 6 by 7 rule, 6 lines only, and 7 words per line. So that the focus of the audience is on what you're saying. They're just listening to you, not reading your PowerPoint presentation. Next, number 4, visuals. Use the graphics to help you in your presentation, but not too many because it may distract the audience. Instead of using a table of data, use charts and paragraph, the graph. All right? So, like for example, on this slide, as you can see, I only put 2 images at the back of my PowerPoint slide. So I use the behind the text picture in the PowerPoint, whereas nasa likuran lang yung image. And then my picture, the animated picture of mine. Okay? So minimal lang because it may distract the audience. Baka ang focus na nila sa animated pictures, sa GIF na nakalagay ninyo sa inyong PowerPoint. Okay? Number 5, consistency. Make your design uniform. Avoid having different font styles and backgrounds. So like for example, when you are creating or presenting your data, lalo na kapag ka-formal siya, it is highly recommended to use uniform background style, or the design is uniform, that there is branding ba? Parang they knew it that you are the one presenting because you have your brand in your presentation. Alright? And lastly, contrast. Use light font on dark background or vice versa. So if your background is white, therefore, what you're going to use is dark fonts. Syempre, mas visible yon. But if your background is dark, use font that is light. Halimbawa, black, use white font color. Okay? So that it's more visible. This is done so that if it is easier to read. And in most instances, it's easier to read on screen if the background is dark. This is due to the brightness of the screen. So this is common sometimes when you are speaking in the large audience. What is advised there? Use the darker background because the ambience maybe could affect your presentation. Okay? So again, number 1, minimize, clarity, simplicity, visuals, consistency, and contrast. So these are just some of the few tips that could enhance your PowerPoint presentation or any kind of presentation software or application that you're about to use. Make sure you apply those 6 tips. Now, let's apply those tips in your PowerPoint presentation. Let me show you some examples in this slide in my teaching visual aid. Okay, like for example, this one. Okay, I only use one font in introducing myself at the beginning of my class. Usually, this is just a brief introduction of mine, and then I focus more on my background, on my discussion, on my explanation about myself. Alright? So this is just a glimpse on a background of mine. So there. So I use this black background because before the pandemic, I am using a projector. So in a classroom, sometimes nagkakaroon ng conflict sa lighting. So therefore, I use normally the dark background so that the students could easily read text that I have included in my slide. And another one is this slide. Okay, so this is just an application on our on what I have discussed a while ago. Not all information are presented in the visual aid, so that the students or audience of mine are focused on what I am saying. Okay, so there are some transition effects or a minimal animation and a picture itself. Alright, so this is just a sample. Now, let's use, or let me teach you now on how are you going to use a hyperlink. Now, for instance, we will create a new slide or a new PowerPoint presentation, and let's apply these techniques and let's learn about hyperlinks. Click New, and blank presentation. Now that you have your blank presentation, try to start adding an elements. Advanced presentation skill. For example, there's one. Then you are free to collect your own design that you wanted to apply on this slide. Okay, so it's up to you whether you want to be applied whether you want to apply this design in all of your slides. Click, right click this one. There are options: apply to all slides, apply to selected slides, or set default theme. So in my case, I would like to choose apply to selected slides. Okay, so there you go. Now you can fix the font size. You can select a font style. Okay. Make sure that your font style is readable enough when you present this to a larger audience. It depends. When you have a larger audience, a large number of audience, it's okay. Okay, so adjust. There. Assuming that I have a larger number of audience. So there you go. Here is your first slide. Now, as you can see, I only included the main topic. I did not include a lot of text. I did not include a lot of sentences or paragraph in my PowerPoint presentation. Now, using hyperlinks in your presentation is an easy way to navigate slides during your presentation. And it may be wise to insert action buttons for most slides or place hyperlinks to your Excel file in case your audience asks a specific question, so that it's easier for you to go back to a particular slide or a particular topic on your presentation. So first, if you wanted to add a hyperlink, this is the easiest way. Okay, like for example, you want to add another slide. Use the the shortcut key, Control M. If you want to add another slide, there you go. So let's say for example, you added another information. PowerPoint slides. Okay, this is just a sample, and then you add some details. Existing file or web page. Place in this document. Create a new document. And email address. There. So again, you can manipulate its font style and font size. Easiest way, just click this one for a bigger font size, and then for this one, since this is the title, so there, let's apply the use of hyperlinks to these different options. Actually, these 4 bullets are the link to options when you are about to use hyperlink. So let's practice the first bullet. This is the first option. When you right-click this one, highlight first, then right-click, then look for the word hyperlink. There. Then upon clicking this one, a window will appear. On the left side, as you can see, these are the options. Since I have no saved web page, let's try to use existing file. Just select on your documents what you wanted to present. For example, this one, the new document. Click OK. There, as you can see, there's a change on the text where hyperlink was being placed. So let's try to slideshow. To use the slideshow button and try to click this one. Let's find out what will happen. There. So the new document is actually blank. Okay, I just use this as an example. And then when you go back, it will return to the original slide. All right. Now, what about the second one? Place in the document. Right-click again, look for hyperlink, and click place in this document. It creates a hyperlink that allows you to jump to a specific slide in your PowerPoint presentation. So if you wanted to go back to the previous slide or the very first slide, you just simply put a hyperlink and link to this option, place in this document. So if I want to go back on the first slide, since we only have 2 slides in my sample presentation, click this one, first slide. As you can see, it will have its preview. So click OK. There. Now let's see how it goes. So let's click. Okay. So it's just go back to the previous slide. It's up to you whether you want to what slide you want to go back on that particular presentation. Okay. Now, what about the third slide? At the third bullet. Again, highlight, right-click, look for hyperlink, and create a new document. When you're about to create a new document, you simply create a file name. For example, this one, new. Then you have 2 options here. It creates a hyperlink that once you clicked, it creates a new document and a specified location. There. So the first option here is edit the new document later or edit the new document now. So I'll just try to select the first one and then click OK. There. Saving. There. As you can see, another window will appear on your screen saying another document was created. Now let's try. Let's try to play a slideshow. Click this one. There. So a blank document because I selected the edit later. Okay. What about the last one? The email address. There. Click this one, email address. Well, this one creates a hyperlink that opens Microsoft Outlook that automatically adds your specified recipient on a new mail. So this one is applicable to Officeworks because offices are using Microsoft Outlook. Okay, so I'll just presented to you these 3 important or the most common used options in Hyperlink. Share the existing file, place in this document, and create a new document. Okay? Now, let's proceed on embedding objects in Microsoft PowerPoint. This one is easy using Microsoft PowerPoint. With this option, you can insert an Excel file that would look like a table to a presentation. So if you wanted to embed a table or an Excel file, you just simply use embed file. Now, how are you going to do this? go to Insert tab on this upper left side of your screen. There, click Insert and then look for the text group there and Object. Since you're about to embed objects. As you can see on the description, embedded objects are documents or other files you have inserted into this document. Instead of having separate files, sometimes it's easier to keep them all embedded in a document. So here is the process. Click Object, and then another window will appear. The Insert Object dialog. Now you have two options here. Create New or Create from File. When you click the first option, Create New, it creates a new file from scratch. Then you can select on a wide variety of files listed. When you select this second option, it creates a file from an existing file saved on your computer. Simply browse the file to use it. And putting a check on this one, on this link, let's try. Let's browse. And like for example, I want to include this data and click OK. Once the document were placed on this file, then click this one and it will allow you to modify the Excel file inside your presentation. Click OK. Look what will happen. There. So, instead of i-copy-paste lang, punta ka pa ng file, i-copy yung particular information there, you just simply click or follow the process of embedding. So, from here, you can adjust its size. It's up to you. It's up to you how are you going to present the data. So, like for example, this one, I want to resize this data, just a sample only. Okay, you can adjust this one, the font style, so the table is also visible there. So you have an embedded object in your presentation. Okay, so let's wrap it up. To create an effective presentation, you have to apply those tips that I have mentioned a while ago. Minimize, clarity, simplicity, visuals, consistency, and then the contrast. And on the use of the hyperlinks, to create links to an existing file or web page, a place in the document, to create a new document, or to send an email to a specified recipient are those options that I have presented to you a while ago. And embedding objects allows you to insert files inside your presentation, like Excel file, another document, and you can do this by simply going to the Insert tab, the text group, and then click the object. You have two options when inserting an object. First is to create new, which creates a new file you specified, and then the second option is create from file, and it allows you to create a new one based on an existing file already saved in your hard drive. So these are just some of the advanced skills that you can apply in your presentation. I hope you gained something from this video session. I'll see you again on our next tutorial. God bless you and take care.